Thank you very much, PSH and the honorable guest. I am here to present the way forward of living donor liver transplantation in Pakistan. So first of all, before start of the discussion, I would like to mention that whatever I will discuss here, this is what we have done in Gumbert, and this is the same model which I will present to be replicated and to be adopted in the rest of the country. I will particularly mention Dr. Najmul Hassan here and also the chairpersons, Dr. Amir Latif, Faisal Hanif, and Dr. Muhammad Saleh. So let's start the discussion. So it's less of an academic, but more of a administrative talk. This is our hospital. If you look at the data, right now we need almost 5,000 transplants per year. And what we are performing, it's almost 500, at max 500 transplants per year. So we need to increase the capacity of our transplant centers. So what is the way forward is, we need to increase the number of transplants, number one, and number two is we need to reduce the number of transplant required per year. The required transplant per year, they can be reduced by our physicians by preventing the diseases and preventing the decompensated liver cirrhosis. So how we can increase the number of transplants? The first and the foremost important is to train the more people. So I will particularly emphasize on this because I think I myself believe that if you train the more people, the number of the transplants in our country can only be increased by training the more people, by producing the more skilled people. So, and obviously by establishing the more centers, increasing the capacity of the existing centers, and revival of the non-functional programs, and also by increasing the donor pools. Some of the slides has been discussed from my talk by Dr. Hasib. Actually, he has stolen my slides, so it's okay. Hasib. So how can we train more people? We have to we have to start fellowship programs, and very influential peoples are here from CPSP, Professor Ghayasun Abidaya, Professor Umar, and others. So unless we will not start the training programs like CPSP, FCPS in liver transplant surgery, although we can train more people, but we need some certification, we need some pathway so that we can produce the structured trainees. And similarly, we have to start the HPB surgery fellowship as well. Not only the liver transplants, but HPB surgery as well. So in Gumbert, this is a group of the surgeons. Actually, this is a production of the Gumbert. We have trained them. So they are almost 12, and they are from every corner of the country. If you look at these two, Shams and Umar, they are from Balochistan. Then 4 fellows from Sindh province, then these 3 fellows from Punjab province, then from Professor Umar sir from your department is from federal area, then these 2 fellows, Kaleem and Azam, they are from KPK. So among these 2, they are now consultant. They can perform transplant at independent level, and I'm sure they can run a liver transplant program wherever they want to. They are, and the next tie is these 6 people, they are level 3 fellows. They are near to completion. They are performing almost 90% of the transplant bits. So in the next year, they will be complete surgeons and they will be capable of doing transplants at their own, inshallah. And then now coming to the level 2 fellows, these are relatively new fellows. And in next 3 years, I hope so, they will also be capable of doing independent transplants. So we have to increase the trained peoples if we want to increase the capacity of transplant programs in our country. And then is this, Dr. Najmul Hassan Shah, this is particular for you, this slide. This is actually my dream slide. When we used to discuss the liver transplant programs in the private sector and the public sectors. So whenever I used to talk, these people, I'm mentioning the name because I have taken the consent from him. So they used to say me the liver transplant is not possible in public sector at all. So let's try to enhance the capacity of the private sectors. We have to do it at the private sector. But I was clear that it can be done and it should be done in public sector. This is the only way forward that we can increase the capacity and we can increase the number of transplants. So if you come in this is year 2013 and 12 when we started the liver transplant program. In first year, 2013, 46 transplants were done in private sector and 14 transplants in public sector. Then comes 2014, then 15, then 16, 17. Till 17, you can see the private sector is rising and the government sector is at the same pace. And then this happened. The number of transplants start increasing in the public sector. And then this has crossed, the paradigm has shifted. So one step has been done. The second step is to produce the more centers. The trained people has been produced. The public sector has taken up the more number of transplants are being done in public sector, and more experts have been shifted from private sector to public sectors. So I think I deserve clapping for that. Thank you so much. So right now, what are the existing programs? This is a Gambit, PKLI, DAO, SIUT, AL2U, then private sectors, Shifa, Bahariya, Qaid-e-Azam. There may be some more which I don't know. So the other step, we have to do the revival of the existing programs. This is a fantastic program, Sheikh Zayed Hospital. All of us should try that. We should revive this program. We should help the Sheikh Zayed Hospital. We should talk to the HOTA why they are stopping this program so far. Everything is there, trained people are there, trained manpower is there, but the capacity is still low. And actually it's from last 1 year, I think they are not doing because of this logistic issues. So we should help the PSH and the authorities, and Professor Ghasun Nabi Tayyab is very influential. He can talk with the government peoples, and actually he is the member of the society which is taking care of that. So they should solve this problem, and the program should be started as early as possible. So then there are a few other programs. Everything is there, but the capacity of the transplant, the number, they are very low, like DAO, ALTU. Their capacity should also be increased. Similarly, as we have trained the more people, the more programs should also be established. There is a need of a transplant program in South Punjab, in Peshawar, and in Quetta as well, or of course in Rawalpindi. The capacity of the existing programs, and also we establish some new programs like in South Punjab, Peshawar, Quetta. We can do up to 2,000 transplants per year. So our need is 4,000 to 5,000, and we can perform with this little effort, we can perform 2,000 transplants. And believe me, if we can perform 2,000 transplants, because 50% of the patient, those who require the transplants, actually they don't opt for transplant due to different reasons. Some of them, they don't have the donor. There are so many reasons. Actually, the transplant number which is required is not more than 2,000 to 2,500. Dr. Saleh, you might be agree with this. I know the need is more, but those who opt for transplant, those who are willing for transplant, they are not more than 2,000, 3,000 per year. So with this little effort, we can fulfill our requirement. I will not go into the detail of the funding sources. Then, not only the liver transplant programs, we should also train HPP surgeons as well. At every teaching hospital level, at least, there should be HPP unit and also a gastroenterologist. So this will reduce the burden on the transplant programs, because most of the HPP surgeries can be performed over there, and pre-transplant workup, optimization, and post-transplant workup can be done at that level, and the burden on the transplant program will be reduced, and then hence their capacity of doing numbers will be increased. ठीक, so इसको भी मैं मिस करूंगा. It's not only the doing transplants, it's also the provision of lifelong medications. So the aim of doing the transplant is to produce the effective member of the society. Whenever we do a transplant, we should make sure that this particular patient can have a lifelong medications. Lot of patients are coming to our center, those who got a transplant either from Delhi or from some other center. Actually, they are begging for post transplant medication. They, most of the people, actually मैंने video record की थी, but I could not play over here. A patient was asking, जितनी मेरी जमीन थी वो सारी बिक गई है, अब मैं भीख मांगनी है मैंने, क्योंकि अदरवाइज मेरी दवाइयां पूरी नहीं हो सकती. So we should not produce the beggars, we should produce the effective member of the society. Whenever we do a transplant, we should make sure that this particular patient can have lifelong post-transplant medications as well. So for this particular purpose, what we are doing to achieve, we are establishing a pharmaceutical company at our level that will produce at least reasonable amount of immunosuppressants that can be distributed to the other part of the country and also to the other centers at a cheap level, so that every patient who get a transplant can have lifelong immunosuppression medication. This process is underway. The notification has been issued by the government. So we are constructing, inshallah, in a year or two, we will be able to produce these medications and we will be able to distribute in rest of the country as well. Thank you. Next. So this slide has been already discussed, how we can increase the donor pools by the swab transplant, by ABO incompatible transplant, unrelated donor, and of course by deceased donors. So every attempt should be made. If the compatible donor is not available, we should make every attempt that the swab should be possible before proceeding to ABO incompatible transplants. The swab transplant is only possible in high volume center where a large pool of patient is available, so that you can have the option of swab. In swab transplant, this is the one model of doing the swab, that some patient has blood group B and the donor is of the other patient has blood group B, and similarly the other patient. So you can do the swab in this manner, but there is another way as well. This, the donor is blood group O, which is a universal donor. So this can be given to any of the patient, and in return, this can be exchanged. So this is the other way of doing the swab. The question here arises, what would be the benefit to family 1 in this particular patient? Because he has blood group O, the O group can be given to any group. So what would be the advantage of to this family if we ask him that, can you go for a swab transplant? So there is a certain criteria which we have set, that if the first family who has the O donor, but the graft is marginal, like the volume is less, the anatomy is complex, so this particular graft can be given to the other patient. In return, he will get a graft with the same blood group and straightforward graft, the volume good and the favorable anatomy as well. So the outcome will be improved in that particular patient. To both, the benefit will be divided to the both families. So far, we have performed 7 pair of swab transplants. Then is the ABO incompatible transplant. It's a very exciting option, having equal outcome as is compatible, but there are certain limitations, like the cost is increased and it is difficult to do in in a condition where you need urgent transplant like acute liver failure and acute on chronic liver failure. So before ABO incompatible transplant, we need to desensitize the recipient. Desensitize means to remove all the circulating antibodies from the body before giving him the graft, which is not compatible, which is not ABO compatible. So the process to eliminate the antibodies from circulation, we need to reduce beta B cells, then plasma cells and T cells. The rituximab is anti-CD20 monoclonal antibodies which destroy all the B cells. Then bortezomib, this highly active against plasma cells. Basilizumab is active against T cells. Then plasma exchange, this removes the existing antibodies. We have to stop the production of the antibodies and we have to reduce the circulating antibodies. So plasma exchange remove the circulating antibodies, and rituximab and bortezomib, they stop the production of the new antibodies. Then intravenous. So this is the protocol which we have set so far. We give rituximab, bortezomib, then plasma exchange. The target in this is the reduction of anti-A. So this was the outcome in this particular patient. The patient was discharged on day 10. So unrelated donor, I will skip this slide. And also the disease donor is very exciting option. We should make every attempt to start the disease donor programs. Although it's difficult in our social setup, but we should continue. We should keep talking. Ultimately, the day will come when the disease donor programs will be started in our country as well. And this slide, you physicians are well aware how we can reduce the required number of transplants, controlling the obesity, alcohol, hepatitis B vaccination, hepatitis C control, immunization against hepatitis E, and genetic counseling for metabolic liver diseases. Then let's unite, let's work together. What we have discussed, we should implement, we should talk to the authorities. Majority of you all at higher ranks, so you can talk with the authorities to establish the more centers. Inshallah, रास्ता कोई मिल ही जाएगा. वीडियो कौन चल रही? उस पे आना चाहिए. ये चलानी है, 53 सेकंड की वीडियो है लाजमी. आवाज क्यों नहीं आ रही यार? ये 53 सेकंड की वीडियो चलानी है, फिर मैं वापस जाऊंगा इधर से. 800 किलोमीटर सफर तक करके आया हूं. Thank you so much.